Okay, in addition to presenting the phylogenetic tree that you constructed from the morphological character matrix, you've been asked to do a literature search on different aspects of your clade's phylogeny and biology, and present short summaries of these searches in your long presentation. Here, I want to show you how you can start this on a few of these items. Longer descriptions of what you should be doing are down below. But let's start with item 2, in which you are supposed to find 2 more inclusive trees. All right. This is easy to do using Wikipedia. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick species. So let's take something like, what about the killer whale, Orcinus orca? So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it into my Google search bar. I'm going to remove that underscore, and I'm going to just go ahead and make it easier. I'm going to type Wikipedia in there. And here we see Wikipedia's entry on the orca. And the nice thing about Wikipedia is all the entries for different species has a nice hierarchical taxonomy for that particular species. So the demo clade in my presentation is the cetacea. So we need to find phylogenetic trees of more inclusive clades, and that needs to be at 2 different levels. So for example, I could find a phylogenetic tree of Artiodactyla and Mammalia, or I could find Mammalia and Chordata, or Mammalia and Animalia. So let's just start with something like Artiodactyla. I will say that if you search for trees of something like Chordata, most of the trees are going to be not be have a lot of taxa like cetaceans in them, because they're going to be really concentrating on the major groups of chordates and how they're related. Okay, but certainly you would want something like Mammalia within that chordate tree. But let's just start with Artiodactyla. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go to Google Scholar. I'm going to put Artiodactyla, phylogenetic trees. You already have a search for that. So here we have lots and lots of phylogenetic trees for Artiodactyla, some of them new, some of them old. We want fairly newish ones. So let's use something, say, at least within the last 10 years, 11 years. Let's put 2014. And one of the things that is a good skill is you see these different titles. And this title doesn't really look like it's focusing on the phylogeny, but rather dental eruption sequence. This title doesn't look like it's focusing on phylogeny. It looks like it's focusing on body mass evolution. So we want to look at a title that looks like it's really focusing on the phylogeny. Okay, so for example, here, seed Artiodactyla, that's the Artiodactyla, updating the time calibrated molecular phylogeny. That looks pretty good, right? Very nice. Here's a phylogeny that's focusing on the Tayassuids. That's a group within the Artiodactyls, but maybe that has a full phylogeny of the Artiodactyls. Let's just click that, see what it has. Here's the PDF. I'm kind of curious because I haven't seen this paper. Maybe here's the PDF. We're going to get it. Oh, there we go. There's the PDF. So I'm just going to scan down, and just kind of looking at it. It really is just focusing on the peccaries. It doesn't have really all the Artiodactyls, right? That's probably going to be a little bit hard for you to recognize without knowing some of the generic names. So probably the better way is just to really stick to a title that has something like Artiodactyl in the title. So for example, the seed Artiodactyla, that's equivalent to Artiodactyl. All right, so we're going to go to the Science Direct version. We can look at the phylogeny. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Let's see. Download full-size image. That's a full-size image. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to open it up in my Apple preview. That's pretty ugly. We don't want that. Let's go back. How about download high-res image? Nice. There we go. So here we have a phylogeny of the cedar Artiodactyla. And here you see the cetaceans, the other Artiodactyls, including giraffes, deer, antelope and cows, things like the pigs. There we go. Camel there. All right. That's beautiful. So I'm going to copy that. And we want to paste that into our tree. So let's create a new slide. Paste it in. And now we need to add more information, including the citation. Where do we find this? We want to add, what is this group? This more inclusive group. This more inclusive group is Artiodactyl. And here is my clade that I focused on. So we could add an arrow saying, here is the clade that I focused on, just pointing to this. And we can say, add an arrow saying to this whole thing, saying this whole phylogenetic tree is of the Artiodactyl, or a lot of scientists use the word seat Artiodactyla. Okay. Let's go back to our sheet, and you want to find 2 trees of the same clade, all right? So other trees of cetaceans, and specifically you want to see if there are any major differences in the topology. And here's what I would suggest. I would suggest using one older morphology clade, if you can find it, and one newer molecular clade, if you can find it. And I will say, if you're using a family, or if your clade is of some particular family of dipteran flies, there probably won't be a lot of papers on the phylogenetics of this. But do your best to find 2 other papers. Okay? So with cetaceans, that should be pretty easy because lots of people are interested in cetacean phylogeny. So let's go back to Google Scholar, and I'm just going to put cetacean phylogenetic tree. And let's say we want an older paper using only morphology. How about, something like, how about up to 2000? Oops, not 200. Probably not too many papers there. All right, morphology molecules and the phylogenetics of cetaceans. Sure, let's look at that. Can we get a PDF of that? This is asking for a sign-in. Let me see if I can sign in to that. I'm at home right now. Look at my mechanism here. I've just signed in to JSTOR. I'm going to grab that little string there. I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to put it right there. And we'll see if this works. That's all right. Show details. I want to visit the website. And it doesn't. Oh, maybe it does. PDF. Nice. There it is. All right, here is a phylogeny of the baleen whales. So I want to save this. I want to get a screen capture of this phylogeny, and then I want to paste it into my presentation. All right, and I want to add the citation, and then I want to compare the major groups with my phylogeny. So what I mean by that is, what I want to look at is differences in the branching sequence between this phylogeny and that other phylogeny. All right, and that's going to require you to kind of look for these little details. Can you find differences in the branching sequence? The cooler differences are if, say, one species in one phylogeny is, say, here, and in another one it's in a very different place, right? So just see if you can find any differences in the branching sequence or the topology. All right, let's think about a different, or let's look at a different component of the presentation. You are supposed to find primary literature in 4 of the 5 following areas. So let's just take one of these areas, something like ecology. Ecology is a big area. Lots of things fit under the umbrella of ecology. But let's go back to Google Scholar. And I could put cetacean, ecology, or maybe I could just put one of the species. So like Orcinus, that was the killer whale. I'm going to put Orcinus ecology, right? And here we go. Here's a paper, Behavior Ecology of Killer Whales, the Influence of Ecology on Sociality, or a review of Canadian Arctic killer whale ecology. There you see a review. So this is not going to be primary. This is going to be secondary because it's a review paper. All right. But I could download the review of killer whale ecology and then look at some of the primary papers in it. So for example, this paper is going to cite lots and lots and lots of other papers. So here's something on group size. I can look at lots of citations for group size, distribution and seasonality, right? Feeding ecology, maybe I'm interested in feeding ecology. All right, Higdon et al. 2012. That seems to be a pretty big one. Higdon et al. 2012. Killer whales in the Canadian Arctic, prey items, group sizes, and seasonality. Right? So there's your ecology paper right there. And you'd want to actually, you can click on this. It'll go right to the particular paper. Right? You would need to try to find this paper if you can. It might require Sci-Hub, right? And to get the citation for this paper, just put it into Google Scholar. Right? There it is, cite. Click on MLA, copy it, and now you just paste that into your presentation. So let's see, there it is. I put in Google Scholar. Here's your PDF right here. Boom, there's my PDF of this particular paper. So there's a primary paper in Google Scholar. Now I want to kind of look at it. Can I come up with a 2, 3, 4 sentence summary of the major results? The presentation should include that, and you should add that to the slide, and you should mark it with, this is your summary. But then also you want to ask ChatGPT, give me the major result of the article, Killer Whales in the Canadian Arctic, Distribution, Prey Items, Group Sizes, and Seasonality by Higdon and Hauser, 2011, and see what ChatGPT does, right? And add that to your presentation, but mark it as this comes from ChatGPT.